Hey all, Tyler here with e-bike commuting. For your next commute, do you want to ride a e-bike that holds a world record? Well, in this video, I'm going to walk you through EVELO's Atlas e-bike, which holds a world record for the longest continuous route taken on an e-bike, when Robert Fletcher and Wayne Grover rode their Atlases all the way from Alaska down to Panama. It's 8,400 miles. In September, I took out the EVELO Atlas for a day of test riding in the streets of Seattle to see, does the EVELO Atlas live up to this status of being a world record holder? And will it work for just everyday commuting? In this video, I'll walk you through what I liked about the EVELO Atlas, where it fell short, and why it might just be my favorite e-bike for 2024. First, let's talk through some key details of the EVELO Atlas. Its base price is $4,199. It's a Class 3 e-bike with a max speed of 28 miles per hour, has an estimated range of roughly 25 to 60 miles, and it weighs 66 pounds. It uses a mid-drive motor with 600 watts, 1200 watts at peak, and it has 120 Newton meters of torque. The battery is a 48-volt Samsung battery that is integrated into the frame and easily comes out. For its pedal assist sensors, it uses both a torque and cadence sensor. Now let's talk about what I really like about the Atlas. The first is its mid-drive motor. It has a peak of 1200 watts and 120 Newton meters of torque. This is plenty of power to handle just about any hill that can be thrown at you. I took it around the streets of Seattle and up some hills, and it just smashed them. It was great. It was just like very impressive. I really liked how quickly it accelerated. And it also comes with an optional throttle. So most Class 3 e-bikes don't come with an optional throttle. I highly recommend you add it. Now the throttle stops accelerating once you hit 20 miles per hour, which is Class 1 or Class 2. But when you're trying to get it started at a stoplight or on like a slight hill, it's really nice to have the throttle to like help kick in that motor quickly. Speaking of the motor, similar to EVELO's Omega e-bike, which I've reviewed earlier, the mid-drive motor was super silent, like eerily silent. I don't think I've ever ridden a mid-drive motor that's been that quiet. So yeah, all in all, I really like the mid-drive motor of the Atlas. The Atlas also comes with quality components. It has a belt drive, which is by Gates Carbon belt drive, which they make the top of the line belt drives. This makes it perfect for wet, winter, gritty, rainy commuting because the belt drive requires way less maintenance than a normal traditional chain drive. So you can get it wet, you can get it dirty. It also has great rain fenders to provide lots of coverage in that wet weather. The hydraulic disc brakes provide plenty of stopping power. And when it comes to attention to detail, EVELO has been making e-bikes since 2012, and it really shows. One thing I really like about all of EVELO's e-bikes is they put a little port behind the seat on the back of the seat stay where you can plug in a range extender. So some other e-bike companies require you to like reroute cabling and like take apart the motor housing to plug in a range extender. EVELO comes with this tiny little port that you just simply plug in the range extender. It's all nicely integrated, very slick, very well designed. So I really appreciate EVELO's attention to detail. So when it comes to that world record, one aspect of the Atlas that exemplifies why they were able to ride it for 8,400 miles is the comfort part. It comes with 2.8-inch wide tires. They're really thick and soft and plush. And it also has front suspension. So those two aspects combined made it super smooth when riding it off some pretty rough. I was in kind of the shipping warehouse area of Seattle and riding on some really rough roads. So it just handled them really well. One thing that's a little bit different about the Atlas is it comes with both a torque sensor and cadence sensor. Most bikes just come with either a cadence or torque sensor. My preference in general is for a torque sensor. EVELO opted to combine both a cadence sensor and a torque sensor, which means it just, the power management is very seamless. Whether you're spinning really fast or pushing really hard on the pedals, it produces a good amount of energy out of that motor. For the most part, it just kind of felt like riding an e-bike with a torque sensor. I think that's the predominant sensor that manages power. So if you've ridden a torque sensor e-bike, it will feel pretty similar to that. On the other hand, if you've only ever ridden cadence-based e-bikes, this will feel much different. But I honestly think it feels more natural pedaling than a cadence-based e-bike. Another nice part about the Atlas is its LCD screen display screen. It's got a really cool graphics system that shows, it has like a bar to indicate how fast you're going and how much power is being outputted, as well as your speed. It has very large graphics, so it's really easy to see, and it's backlit, obviously, for nighttime riding. So that screen was just a really nice plus. So now let's talk about a few areas where the Atlas falls short. And in general, the Atlas was a great e-bike. The first is the recommended rider height range is kind of narrow. It's from 5'6" to 6'3". So if you're outside that range, sorry, this e-bike's not going to really work for you. If you're in that range, that's great. The other thing is its weight. At 66 pounds, it is a heavy e-bike, and if you add in a range extender, that adds on another 10 pounds, like this thing will get heavy. In general, it feels like super solid, well built, so the weight just makes it feel really sturdy on the bumps and handling everything. So while riding it, I didn't really notice the heavy weight. I think it's more like if you lived in an apartment or have to get it in and out of a car, like, or having to carry it upstairs, that will be a pain. But if you're mainly getting it in and out of your garage and you're riding and you don't have to like carry it around, then I don't think the weight will really be an issue for you. Last drawback or downside of the Atlas is that it uses an EVELO CVT hub. So the shifter is variable, meaning there's no set gears. You can basically find any gear combo, kind of any gear range or ratio, whatever you want to call it. So that's really nice. Like as you shift, there's like a little icon that shows up that shows kind of the incline, and it shows like, the steeper the incline of the icon, the like easier the gearing ratio is. So that is a plus. Like I really do like that. I have another bike, the Urban Arrow, that I have that on that I really enjoy. It's like nice to always find that, be able to find like the perfect gear essentially for any climb. The one drawback with this system is that the actual range, so like the highest gear to lowest gear, is not that wide. So this will only really be noticeable on a super steep hill where you're trying to get to super high gear. Now that being said, the motor with like its plenty of torque will help you get up most hills. So I don't think it's going to be so it's not like a deal breaker. It's just something to note. If you're someone that wants a really wide gearing range of gears, like the Atlas might be a limitation for you. So that's everything about the EVELO Atlas e-bike itself. I want to talk briefly about EVELO, the company. First is customer service. They don't hire like customer service people. They just have all their e-bike specialists and mechanics take customer service calls. They respond to calls or respond to emails. So the people you're talking to, if you do have a question about their bike, are like literal experts when it comes to their bikes. The second is that they have a 21-day at-home trial. So you get the bike, build it, use it for 21 days. If you don't like it in those 21 days, you can send it back to them for a full refund. EVELO will even pay for the shipping to get it back to them. There's no restocking fees. Literally no other company, no other e-bike company offers this type of guarantee. It really just like speaks to how confident EVELO is in the quality of their bikes and that they know customers are going to be satisfied with them. Now, one little pro tip, EVELO has an open box bikes section on their website that lets you snag bikes that have been, barely used, returned for, I think it's like $500, $700 off. So you can actually get a pretty good discount on the Atlas, especially if they're running a sale where it's already discounted and then it's discounted even more. You can get it for a pretty good deal. So that's the EVELO Atlas. By far, all the pros outweigh those couple of limitations that I mentioned. This bike is going to be my top pick for 2024 of my favorite e-bikes. I just think it's a perfect e-bike for commuting. If it worked for those guys to ride 8,400 miles from Alaska to Panama, I think it's going to work for like my 10-mile commute. So yeah, I highly recommend the EVELO Atlas. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and happy riding.